On tonight's show, we have basketball coach and skills trainer, Grady Willis.
And now for your host, Koolkard.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I can't even talk tonight. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 209, Kicking It with Koolkard. I am your host, Koolkard. Thank y'all for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, I do invite you to subscribe so I can continue bringing you the greatness that I bring on here each and every week with all the great and wonderful guests that I have on the show. I'm indebted to them for life. They don't have to be here, but they're kicking it with your boy. They could be anywhere in the world, but they're kicking it with your boy. Every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know how it goes down. I'm bringing you value. We're talking about life. You know I always pray. I'm always talking about God. I got to give him the glory each and every show. Listen, tonight I have a basketball coach, a skills trainer. This brother is phenomenal. You're going to see the work that's being put in. He's mentoring kids in the community through athletics. He's building community. He's building character. All that, man. It takes a lot. You know what I'm saying? And he's a coach, but he's also a trainer as well. So the brother is doing work. He's doing work in the community. He's doing good for these kids out here. He goes by the name of Grady Willis, down on the coast, you know, where I reign from, where I hail from. So without further ado, let me bring him on in and let's talk about it. You know, we're going to talk basketball. We're going to talk life. You know how I do it. Let's go. Grady Willis. Let's get it. To the show, my brother.
What's good, baby?
Oh man, Mr. Lean on Me himself. I see you, boy.
What's up?
Oh man, wonderful. Thank you for coming on the show, brother. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate it.
For sure. Now, you know, I don't know if you know anything about my show, but you know, I like to humanize the conversation. I like to talk about life. I like to find out where you came from, you know, your journey and how you got to where you are right now and where you see yourself going. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's not going to be just about basketball. I got to feed the people, you know, some
for
goodness,
sure.
value and all that. And you got a story. Everybody got a story. And somebody
Yes,
needs
sir.
to, you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yes, sir.
definitely. Now, I like to start every show off with a prayer though. You good with that?
I'm good with that. Let's do it.
Let's get it. Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we just thank you for joining us here tonight. Lord Jesus, we just thank you for life, love, happiness. We thank you for just allowing Grady to come on here, Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, and be transparent and just share his story, share his journey, Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus. We just thank you and we praise you. We just pray and ask you continue just giving Grady the glory to do what he's doing with all these kids, Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus. We just thank you, Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, for waking us up this morning. We thank you for family, Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus. We just thank you for all the little things that we may overlook at times. You know our heart, Lord Jesus. We just give you all the victory, all the glory, all the love, all the praise. We just pray and ask that you just guide this conversation, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Talk to me.
Yes, man. So listen, brother. I brought you on the show because you're doing some good things in life, my brother. You know what I mean? You're mentoring these kids through athletics.
Yeah.
You're training them, you're giving them the skills, you know, you giving them, you know, encouragement, motivation, you know what I'm saying? Just teaching them how to be young adults at an early age. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Now, you, my brother, you were a standout star in high school. You went on to play college ball and all that. I don't have any film on the brother because it got lost in Hurricane Katrina. So you gotta take my word for it. But you know, you could check the archives. The brother's out there somewhere. Show. Oh no, you don't have the picture. But he got a picture. You know what I'm saying? That you know, give you some proof. But listen, the track record's real. The brother is a phenomenal basketball player. Right now, he is a coach. You're a coach, right? Where are you coaching at?
Yeah, coaching at Pass Christian Middle School, coaching 7th and 8th grade. So I'm over the whole junior high basketball program.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. What y'all doing? What y'all looking like right now?
Been a good year so far. We're in a 3-way tie with 3 other teams. We're currently 4-1.
Okay.
We have a big game on Thursday, which is gonna have huge championship implications. We win that game, we probably give ourselves a chance to play in the championship. We lose that game, we probably out. So,
okay.
so the good thing about it is we control our own destiny.
Hey, no better place to be in, my brother.
For sure.
And I know they trained and coached, right? You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, man. We gonna do it the right way. It's only one way to do it. That's the right way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, brother, I know you weren't always a coach, you were a player.
Yeah.
Coming up in your childhood, and if for y'all that don't know, we gonna let it out the bag. This is my cousin. I know this brother from, what you know what I mean? Yeah, we go back. So
For
your
sure.
entire life, I've always known you to just be balling, in the sports,
Yeah, man.
basketball, right? But high school, you were a standout. Your brothers were
Yeah.
like all y'all were balling, right?
Yeah.
Tell
We
us,
we was hooping, man.
huh?
We was playing. We were good players, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Weren't you like? I think I did some digging too. Weren't you like the first to play in like the Mississippi Alabama All Star
I was
game?
I was the second player from my high school, but I
Okay,
was the first player from Hancock County.
okay,
Um, a guy by the name of Terry Lawyer, who's from Pass Christian, he went to Stanislaus. He was the first one to play in the Mississippi Alabama game from St. Stanislaus, and I was the second player from Stanislaus to play, but I was the first one from Hancock County to play in that game.
okay. Yeah, see, I'm telling y'all, man. The boy got history. So tell us a little bit about this. Okay, so I want to know. You come from playing basketball, and now you're
Yeah,
coaching, right? So let's give them a little history about your journey here. So you played ball, right?
yeah.
Stand out high school. You go off to college. You finish the story. Tell us a little bit, man, because I know your journey.
Well,
Tell people about your
yeah.
journey.
Well, to go back, man, a lot of people don't know this, but baseball was my first love.
Mm-hmm.
When I came out the womb, my dad put a baseball in my hand, and that was the first ball I ever touched. And I started probably playing baseball when I was about 4 or 5 years old. It came natural to me. Uh, and my dad's thing was this: when he looked around the baseball landscape, there was no black catchers at the time. So my dad, he had three boys. He said, I'm gonna make y'all catchers. Y'all gonna be the first black catchers to play baseball. And long story short, man, we gave up baseball. I gave baseball up my senior year, and it disappointed my pops. Because he knew that he was gonna have a baseball player, man. But fell in love with basketball, and it took off from there. But our foundation started at the house, man. My mom was a very good high school basketball player. Um, my dad was a great coach, been around the game a long time,
Yep.
decent athlete, but he taught himself to be a coach. He's good with people, he's good with kids. He's big on fundamentals and discipline and building character. So everything that I'm doing now, man, it stems from my parents. I'm the oldest of three kids. Um, and needless to say, when things went wrong at the house, I got my behind toe up for it. Um, I got my brothers a lot of butt whippings, because I was the oldest, and they gonna follow after what I do. So I always got my behind toe up. Um, but I tell you what, it helped me on the basketball court. They raised us. They was tough on us. They didn't let us get away with anything. They held us accountable. They disciplined us, whether it was behavior, whether it was grades. Um, they just always stayed on us, man. Gave us that tough love that we needed. And
Yeah.
so when we ventured off into playing sports, that foundation went with us. Coaches didn't have to tell us to play hard. Coaches didn't have to tell us to get out there and compete and play with pride, because that
Yeah.
stuff was instilled in us at the house. So we got outside every day with the basketball. We went to the park. We broke in gyms. We played a lot of basketball, man. What I'm doing, yeah, man. We was it anywhere we could go to play ball, we was going to play. You know, there was
Yeah.
there was no trainers when I was coming up. The only you learned how to play basketball by playing basketball. And me and my middle brother Gabe, he's probably Gabe made me the player that I became and the player that I was, because every day we got out there, man, Gabe took it to me.
Okay.
I was the oldest, and Gabe was just out there trying to show me that he was just as good as me, if not better. So I had to stay on top of my game because he was right there behind me on my coattail. Um, and, had a really good high school career. I was a good high school basketball player. Like I said, I didn't really work on my game. I wasn't in the gym, working on ball handling and working on shooting and things like that. We just played a lot of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm providing for kids now is something that I didn't have when I was growing up. You know,
Yeah.
what they told us was just get out there and play. And through playing, you learn how to compete. You learn how to play without the basketball. Uh, you learn that you have to get better because a lot of the times when I went to the park and things like that, man, if you lost a game, you had to call downs or you had to go home. You had to hope somebody picks you up, and it forced you to get better,
Yeah.
you know. And so I played for a really good high school coach and Coach Jay Ladner, he's a Hall of Fame basketball coach in the state of Mississippi. He moved on and he coached at Jones Junior College where he won a national championship. He coached at Southeastern Louisiana and he's now currently coaching at the University of Southern Miss in Hattiesburg.
Oh
And
wow. Okay.
along with my dad, my dad's probably the greatest coach that I've ever played for. Coach Ladner's right behind him. He's right there with him. Coach Ladner built on the foundation that my dad set.
Yeah.
He taught us how to be men of character. He taught us how to play the game the right way. Coach Ladner was the type of guy that, hey, if you was playing pickup and you wasn't playing hard and you wasn't out there competing, he shut the gym down.
Wow.
So you had no choice but to play the game the right way and to play hard. And that followed me, as I got into college. And when I got to college, I kind of bounced around a little bit. I thought I was better than what I was. It was a hard transition for me coming out of high school. In high school, I was the man.
Right.
You know, when I got to college, man, I'm a freshman on campus. I'm thinking I'm about to come in here. I'm gonna be the man. I'm coming in. They're gonna give me the ball. I'm going to get 20. I'm doing just what I did in high school.
Right.
No, sir. No, sir. We already got guys that can shoot it. We got guys that can handle it. We got guys that can score it. And I had a hard time adjusting to playing a role. You
Mm.
know,
Okay.
um, I had a hard time adjusting to that. I wasn't used to coming off the bench. Like I said, I was used to being the man. And now I get to college and you're asking me to, set up plays and pass the ball to the big man and get the ball to the shooters. And I'm looking around like, hey, I'm that guy.
Right. I'm the shooter. What you talking
I'm the
about?
shooter. I'm the guy. So I mean, and I had a decent college career. If I could go back and do it again, I would do some things differently. I would get in the gym more. I would work on my game. I would have a better attitude. I would be committed more to my schoolwork. I would have been. There were times where I wasn't coachable. When I was in high school, whatever coach said, I did it. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, coach. No, coach. And it's easy to do those things when you the guy and you're getting whatever you want.
Right.
You know. And once I got to college, those things changed, and I wasn't used to it. And sometimes I had little butt ends with the coach here and there, and I learned the hard way. My freshman year, coach pulled me in and he told me, he said, "Hey, man, I was in Pasco Hernando in Florida, playing
Mm-hmm.
at a junior college, and I ended up breaking my foot. It was my first injury that I ever went through, first injury that I ever experienced, and I lost focus, uh, lost my dedication, kind of losing my love for it. Really wasn't going to practice, partying all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that coach pulled me in, man, and he said, "Hey, it's in your best interest to find you somewhere else to go."
Dang, for real?
He said we would love to bring you back. I finished the year out strong. We had about 4 or 5 games when I came back. Had some good games under my belt, thinking I was gonna come back the next year, be a different player. And that man called me in the office and he said, "Hey man, it's in your best interest to go somewhere else. We can help you go anywhere you want to go, but you can't come back here."
Dang.
And long story short, man, I ended up leaving Pasco Hernando. I went to Meridian Community College for a year. Um, I played for Coach George Brooks, who I believe now is on the coaching staff at Mississippi State. So I played for another great coach. Had a good year at Meridian. I made the All JUCO All Star team. So I played in the JUCO All Star game. I transferred from there, and I went to Mississippi College in Jackson, Mississippi, and I played for a coach named Don Lofton. And me and Coach Lofton had some butt ends, man. Once again I found myself in another situation where I'm playing behind juniors and seniors. I'm thinking I'm that guy still, not being coachable, not being a team player, just thinking I'm that guy, man.
Yeah.
And once again, finally I leave there and I'm down to my last hurrah, and I go to William Carey. And a guy by the name of Coach Steve Knight, who's a Hall of Fame coach in the NAIA world. He gave me a chance. He was recruiting me out of high school. He could have turned it down and told me, hey, I didn't sign out of high school. He didn't have to give me that scholarship,
Right.
but coach gave me a scholarship. He gave me another chance. I had a great year, man. Playing with some great guys. And from there, man, I went right into coaching. And that was my well, I take that back. I played a little semi-pro basketball. Played some semi-pro basketball for 2 years. And after that, it was kind of like God telling me that, your playing days are over.
Yeah.
Your playing days are over. The basketball is taking you as far as it can take you as a player. And on the flip side of that, I'm now coaching and training, and I'm still around. God has still blessed me to be around the basketball, man, and it's been amazing.
What was that transition like for you? Because I know, and I don't know how many people know this, and I don't know if you even want me talking about this, but a lot of people don't know that you, between that time and you starting to train and all that, you became, I'm gonna let you say
Yeah,
it.
I became an ordained minister.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I became an ordained minister, man. God called me to preach and teach His word. I accepted the calling. I ran from it for a long time. Um, you know, and I told Him, if this is what you want me to do, man, I wasn't sure of it, but I knew it was what He called me to do.
right.
I knew it's what He called me to do. I was mentoring and I was preaching in the church, doing poems and, just getting up, spreading the word, giving encouragement, things like that. And one day my pastor came to me and he said, man, this was my confirmation though. He came to me and he said, man, you bootlegging God's word. And I said, man, what you mean I'm bootlegging God's word? He was like, you get up and you do poems, you get up and you do little inspirational speeches and things like that. And he said, man, God calling you to preach, man. It's like, it's all over you. And once he told me that, my mom had already been on me. From the time I got done with college, my mom had been on me. She was telling me every single day, you know how Cleo is, man.
Yeah.
Hey, mama called me. She said, listen, boy, you need to come home. There's so many people in this community that you can be inspiring. You can be changing them. You can be leading them in a different direction. And I kind of told my mom, I said, listen, man, I said, these people don't even listen to their own parents. Why they gonna listen to me?
Right.
And she said, you just got something special about you. You got a gift about you that, you can lead and guide people and put them on the right track. And once again, like I said, I kept running from all of that because one, I didn't want to move back home. I wanted to be as far away from home as possible. But lo and behold, home was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Home was where I was supposed to be. And, we try to do things on our own time and we want to control things and dictate how our life's going to go. But God has already mapped this thing out, man.
Absolutely.
He's already mapped it out. And the more we run from it, and the more we try to direct our own footsteps instead of Him leading and guiding our own and ordering our steps the way He wants us to go, we make life hard for ourselves. But once we start tapping into it and walking in what God has called us to walk into, man, life, I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy, but it gets easier.
Right.
It's not as hard as it once was when I was trying to do it all on my own. You
Absolutely.
know.
So
And
what was that?
matter of fact, I married you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had the opportunity of marrying you and your wife. Y'all was the first wedding that I ever did, man.
I know. I know.
Yep,
Thankful for that, my brother.
for sure, brother.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for allowing me to do that.
Yeah.
That was growth in my ministry journey.
Yep. Yeah, man. Absolutely. I never, I'll never forget that, of course. But yeah.
No, no. You know,
Yeah, man.
so now my preaching and teaching is now probably outside the walls of the church.
Yeah.
You know, so
I
I
want you to
consider.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish that. I got something to say.
No, I was just saying, man. I've been doing this coaching thing for about 13 years. I've been running my own business and training for about 7 years. So what I decided was, man, you know what? I gotta find a way to continue to bless God and honor God and draw people to God. And so now just through basketball, through athletics, through school, I'm able to mentor to these kids. I'm able to preach and teach to them. I try to teach these kids and instill in them the same principles and things that were instilled in me. God first, family second, everything else takes care of itself after that. You know,
Absolutely.
so and the biggest thing is through my coaching and teaching, I want people to be able to see the God in me. I want them to see by the way I talk, the way I carry myself, the way I treat people right, the way I hold these kids accountable. That's all God, dog.
Yeah.
That's my way of honoring Him and giving back to Him. And people might think, yeah, I'm very confident in myself. And sometimes that comes off as cocky. Sometimes that comes off as arrogant. But one thing I know, man, is I know God got me.
Big.
I know what God said about me. I know that God has destined and put me in a position where I can grow and I can lead people. And in His Word, He said that He came to give us life and give us life more abundantly. And so I carry myself like that, man. And like I said, it might come off as cocky and arrogant to some other people, but when you got God on you, man, you're supposed to walk around with your chest sticked out and your head held high. That just, you know what I'm saying? If you're a believer of God
Yeah. Yeah.
and you believe in His Word and what He said, then why would you be walking around depressed and down and you
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Weak. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man. So I want when people around me, I want them to feel that energy. You know what I'm saying? I want that to rub off on people and lift them up and build them up, man.
Absolutely, man. I want to know this. Okay, so now this is not off topic. Off topic. All right, so check this out. So you being an
Yeah.
ordained minister, right? You got in the
Yep.
pulpit preaching for a while, then you stepped away, and you're ministering to these kids in the community and in schools, right? And you're training them.
Right.
So let's step into. Okay, I'm going somewhere with this. Let's talk about, because I know a lot of people had a lot to say about when Mace stepped away from music, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
how you stepped away from basketball and you hopped in the pulpit, right? So
Right.
now it's like, okay, he's all holier than now coming from music. He's all holier than now, right? And then he steps out of the pulpit and he's doing what he's doing now. And a lot of people had something to say about that. Can you speak to that? Because it's kind of like you did the same thing, but you're still giving God the glory and you're still doing God's work. I don't know what Mace is doing. I can't speak to the man's life. I don't know what he's doing as far as ministering and all that now. I just know he's not preaching anymore. So a lot
Right.
of people had things to say about that. Can you speak to that? Because it's like you were in the pulpit, but now you're out. Did anybody have anything to say about that? Like how you stepping in and then you stepping out and then you back into the secular world, but you're still ministering. Like I just
Well,
want you to speak to that. Can you speak to that?
one thing I know is this, man. People gonna talk about you whether you're doing good. People gonna talk about you whether you're doing bad.
Absolutely.
The world that we live in, we just judge everybody, man.
Yeah.
We judge everybody. We judge everything that they do. We got something to say about everybody. So that's why you got to be confident in who you are. You got don't one thing don't nobody know is this. Don't nobody know your relationship between you and God.
Mm-hmm.
Don't nobody know that.
Yeah, they don't know how he gonna use you, and it could
And
just
they
be.
don't, man, they don't know how God gonna use you. They don't know what God say about you.
Yeah.
Man, God did take some of the worst people, man, and elevated them and
Yep.
used them for his glory.
Yep.
People that you thought that, they was the scum of the earth, man.
Yep.
God saw value in those people, man. And,
Yes.
and he lifted them up, and like I said, he used them for his glory. Now the whole thing with Mace, I'm not big on the whole music thing. I'm not big into getting into all of these superstars and artists.
Yeah,
I don't get into their personal life, man.
for sure.
Um, the one reason I don't worship people like that is because people gonna let you down. You know,
Absolutely.
we put
Every
we put
time.
people yeah, we put people way up here, put them on a pedestal, and as soon as they make one mistake, man, we jump to social media, we bashing them.
Yep.
um so I don't worship people. I worship God, man. And you know what I'm saying. And I think if us around the world would quit idolizing these celebrities and things like that, man, then when they do make mistakes, we wouldn't be so quick to judge them, you know.
Yeah.
um but now on my side of it, uh, what this is really what took place with me. I jumped out into my training, and I hit it hard, man.
Hmm.
I said if I want my business to grow, I got to put all my time and my energy into my business.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, man. When I first started my business, I was working like 4 jobs. I was
Wow.
I was working at the Hollywood casino from like 7 in the morning to about 2:30 in the evening. I would leave the casino. I was a volunteer coach at St. Stanislaus, and I would work at St. Stanislaus from like 3 o'clock to about 6:15. I would leave Stanislaus at 6:15, and then I would go run my training business from about 6:15 to 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Then on the weekends, I would referee bitty basketball games. So man, when I tell you I was exhausted,
Man.
my time and my energy was being split into so many different avenues. So I quit the job at the Hollywood. Um, it happened at St. Stanislaus where they didn't bring us back. We had a down year, the year of COVID. They decided to go in a different direction. Lo and behold, it was really a blessing in disguise for me because it allowed me for the next 5, 6 years to just run my business, man.
Yeah.
And I will say this: once I started running my business, I kind of not that I lost my relationship with God, but I really did stop attending church.
Hmm.
Um, I stopped attending church. There were some things going on at our church, that I wasn't in agreement with. I wasn't in agreement with some of the things, and I'm not going to get into that and touch on that.
Yeah, for sure.
And that stuff happens, you know. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to run my business. If I have to miss church, running my business, then God understands.
Yeah.
He blessed me with it. He gonna understand that I got to get out here and I got to work. And so what I started doing was, I like I said, I started preaching and teaching to these kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lifting up God in training, lifting up God in coaching, helping them build a relationship
Yeah.
with God, and knowing who He is and knowing that I believed in Him. Um, and so, you know what? Over that time, I have so many people that would come up to me and say, "Hey, man, you still preaching? You still preaching? You still doing sermons? You still?" And so I had to tell them. I said, I'm preaching every day.
Right here on the court.
I'm I'm doing sermons every day.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm doing
Yeah.
I'm doing sermons in Walmart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm preaching at school. I'm preaching in the gym.
Yeah.
Every single time you see me, it's an opportunity for me to preach and teach. And so that doesn't mean that I have to be in the pulpit. That doesn't mean that I have to be in church. People like I said, man, people gonna judge you. People gonna say what they want, but don't nobody know my relationship with God.
Brother, say it
You
again.
know,
Say it again.
yeah, nobody know my relationship, man. Every single morning I get up, man. I get up Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock in the morning. I get up. I'm praying on my way to pick kids up before school. I'm praying for our safety. I'm praying when I get to my office. I got a Bible sitting right there on my desk. You know, I read my word. I say my prayer. I recite my words of affirmation to myself before my day even gets started. I do this every single day.
Yeah, I love
Every day, all throughout the day, man. I'm having conversations with God. All when I get done, man, I'm having conversation with God. So, like I said, man,
Yes.
don't nobody know your relationship, you know.
Yeah.
And this is the thing: people can judge you, people can say what they want, but the Bible says this: that when we all die and we stand before the Lord, it
Yep.
said that every knee must bow and every tongue must confess. So at the end of the day, we all got to be held accountable for us. It
Absolutely.
don't matter what other people doing.
Right.
It just matters what we do.
Yep.
You know. So
So long story short, that's why I asked that question, because I wanted you to go there, because I love the way that you segued out of the church, but you still giving God the glory and still preaching. That's what people got to understand. You don't have to be in the church. Nothing wrong with the church, but you don't have to be in the church to go out here and change lives. You know what I'm saying? You're still doing the same work that God wants you
that's
to
it,
do.
man.
You know what I
That's
mean?
it. The church just a building.
That's it.
The,
That's it.
the Bible says we are the church.
Mm-hmm.
We are the church. So
Two or
no
more.
matter where I'm at, I take the church with me because I'm the church.
Absolutely.
So you know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta be in the church. You know, but now I will say this. I will say this, that church attendance is important though.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that church attendance is important. Because God has blessed and ordained people to preach and teach the word. And if we don't ever go to the church and hear, okay, we have to be able to go into the church and hear, because there's some things in that Bible that we don't understand.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some things in that Bible that we can't go in there and find, and we need a man of God to be able to minister to us and be able to teach us and lead us and guide us. So church attendance is very important. And just recently, I've decided. Tell you something funny, man. I ran into my ninth grade high school religion teacher.
Slide over a little bit for me. There you go, right there.
Like that?
Yeah, you about to come
Yeah.
out the screen on me.
My fault. My fault.
Getting into that word, boy, you start leaning.
Yeah, man. But
Go ahead.
like I said, man, for the last 6-7 years, man, I've been training every single Sunday. Every Sunday from 7-8 in the morning till 6-7-8 at night. I'm in the gym working. And you know, and I happened to run into my high school religion teacher when I was in ninth grade. And so we were talking one day, and he told me, he said, man, you know, when my life started going in shambles, him and his wife was going through a divorce and things like that. And I asked him, I said, what was going on in your life? What were you doing that you wasn't doing before when everything was going good? He just said, you know what, man, I got out of my word. I stopped attending church, you know. And that shined a light on me, because I'm sitting there looking at it like, dang, man, I've been grinding for 6-7 years, and I've been in the gym every single Sunday, and I haven't been going to church. And although I am preaching and ministering the word outside of church, like I said, it's still important for me to go into the church and hear, and you know what I'm saying, and touch and agree with the people. And so what he told me was this. He said, right now your priorities are off. He said, God has blessed you for 7 years to be training and running your business. And now you got your business where you're going, where you want it to be. And he broke it down to me like this. He said, man, the Lord rested on Sunday. That's what he told me. He said, the Lord rested on Sunday. So he said, you need to do one or two things. He said, you either need to start taking Sunday off, or you need to start your training later so you can at least start attending church at least 2 or 3 Sundays out the month. And starting in the new year, man, I just talked to him. It's crazy that we're talking about this, because I just talked to my pastor last night, and we sat down and we chopped it up after a basketball game, and he's been encouraging me to come back to the church and, you know, be in attendance, and so the people can see me. And so for the new year, man, I'm gonna try to change some things around, see if I can start getting into church back on Sundays. And like I said, since I'm already telling my clients that it's God first, family second, they should understand I got to go get that word.
Absolutely.
You know, So
and
yeah,
watch
man. So
watch God work in your life once you step back in there. And not saying he's not working now, but watch him work.
yeah,
You know what I'm
for
saying?
sure,
You know how it
for sure.
goes. You already
That's
know.
how I go, man. That's how I go. Yeah, I gotta stay locked in with him, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You know
sir.
what? You can feel yourself when you falling back away from him.
Yeah, for sure.
You can feel it. You
For
know, you
sure.
can feel it.
I was
You
away for
know.
years, brother. I had to hop back in there. You know what I mean? And not only for me, but more so for my children. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta get them rooted. You gotta give them that foundation. You know, and they gonna
Yep.
find their faith. They gonna they gonna grow their faith. They gonna build their faith. They gonna know God. And then as they
Yep.
get older, you know, they gonna make their own choices when it comes to that. But
Exactly.
you gotta set
Exactly.
that foundation.
And now that you say that about your kids, man, that's something that I've also thought about. I got two daughters, 10 years old. You know, my pops and my mom brought us up in the church. Um, you know, so when they're with me, when they're at our house, most of the time I have them for the summer. Of course, they're in church with dad. Dad's always taking them because I got to go to the gym. But those are things that I've often thought about. You know, my dad raised us up in the church, and I want to bring my kids up in the church, so that you know, like it says, the Bible says, you know, they won't stray away from it. No matter what they do in life, they're gonna always come back to that foundation, that source. So
Exactly.
you know, so it's our job to train them up the way that they should go.
Right. Yeah. We don't do nothing else. We gotta do that.
Yeah,
Gotta do that. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about your training though. So Next Level Skillz. I got the video. I'm gonna show the video so everybody can see what you actually do. And then
for
we'll
sure.
come back and we'll add, I'm gonna talk to you about some other questions because I got some questions about some things that you said earlier. But you know, let them know a little bit about your business. You know, you say you train every Sunday, right? Sun up to
Yep,
sundown, pretty much. How can people get
yep.
in contact with you and all that?
Man, you can go on Instagram. It's Next Level Skillz, next underscore level underscore, and the word skills with a Z. You can look me up on Instagram, on Facebook. You can look up my business page, Next Level Skillz. Of course, on TikTok, I'm on TikTok, Next Level Skillz. I'm also on Twitter, which is now X, as Next Level Skillz on there. You can reach me on email, jrwillis2020@gmail.com, or I'm gonna go ahead and put my phone number out there if you want to contact me by phone, 601-434-1524. You got all the access. I'm like Deion Sanders, baby. I ain't hard to find. I ain't hard to find, baby.
Now, do you I'll ask you this after I play your reel. Let's play the reel.
Yeah,
Let's show these people what you do, brother. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Yes,
that's good work
sir.
right there.
Yes, sir. That's that
That's good
work.
work. That work. That work.
Yeah, man. So you said you've been doing this for 7 years, right?
Now, I've been running my business for 7 years, man. Been
Yeah.
rocking, been rocking by myself, man, for about 3 years, man. I had some really good. I'll tell you what. For about 2 years, I had some really good guys working for me. Of course, I had my brother Grady Willis, who's now the coach at. He's an assistant coach at St. Martin. He's been a head coach at Bay High and at Hancock. I had Coach Ramon Tate, who's now the junior high coach at St. Stanislaus. And I had a guy by the name of Brandon Fortenberry, who's he played at Picayune High School. He went on to play college basketball for 4 years, and he also played overseas. So I had those four guys working with me, or three guys working with me for about 2 years, and the rest of the time, man, I've been rocking by myself. But the great thing about those guys is they all went on to be head coaches or coaching in some capacity.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, but man, I've been by myself, man, and at 40 years old, man, it take a toll on your body, son. So I thank God for blessing me with the energy and the strength to keep getting out here and doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure them kids appreciate that, brother. How many kids like currently right now are you training? Because I see you got a whole gym full of kids in there.
Currently, right now, man, I got 85 kids that I train.
God dang.
Got got about 85 kids. That's things from Mississippi to Alabama to as far as New Orleans. You know, I got people. I'll have people sending me messages all the way from Texas. You know, asking me, where am I located at? They see my training, and they always tell me if you wasn't so far, we would definitely be linking up with you. So man, my training has spread all the way across the world, but it's credit to the kids that I train, man.
Yeah.
I tell all of these kids, nobody would be coming to train with me. No, I wouldn't be getting the notoriety that I'm getting if these kids wasn't getting better.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's what I'm saying, it's bigger than me. And like I tell them, man, I don't make nobody better. I'm not a miracle worker.
Right.
I give you the tools, I teach you the game, and you got to go build something with the tools that I give you. Um, and you're gonna make yourself better. I'm
Yeah.
gonna teach you, I'm gonna push you, I'm gonna encourage you, I'm gonna motivate you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want to get better, then it's up to you. I can want it for you as much as I want. If you don't want it for yourself, then you're not gonna achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Um, so my success is a testament of the kids that I've been training, man. And if you don't mind, I want to shout some of those kids out if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. My very first client was a clumsy white kid by the name of Landry Lemoyne. Um, he played for me at St. Stanislaus. Man, Landry couldn't chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. But uh, but man, one thing that kid did was he showed up every single day, man, and he worked his butt off. And he was my very first client that I ever had, and I trained him as if he was a superstar. I poured into him, as if he was one of the top elite athletes, man. And
Yeah.
uh, and once I started training him, it kind of started taking off a little bit for me. I really wasn't getting good players at the time. I wasn't getting good players. I was getting mediocre, below average type players, and I was building them up. But those kids was coming in and they were working hard, and it started growing. People started noticing how much better, how much improvement these kids was making. And then what happened was, man, I started training a kid by the name of I started training Demi Cook. Demi Cook he won a high school basketball championship at Gulfport High School. He played at Southeastern Louisiana. He also played at Benedict College. He went overseas and played overseas for a year. After I got him, I started training this kid named Joshua Hardnett. Joshua Hardnett was Demi Cook's teammate at Gulfport High. They both won a high school championship. Um, Joshua played at BYU. He played
Okay.
at BYU. He currently was just now overseas playing. So once I started getting those two kids, man, started getting some better players. The good players in the state started taking notice of what I was doing, especially on the coast. The next two kids I picked up was Jerion and Jerron. They both played at Biloxi High School. I picked those two kids up. When I picked them up, they were playing at Pearl River Community College, and they had just won. They had just won. It was the COVID year. They had just won a national championship. Um, those guys came in and they trained with me. They had big time notoriety on the coast. A lot of people knew them, And so once people started seeing those guys playing, coming and train with me, it really started blowing up.
Yeah.
It was kind of like it was kind of like, hey man, this guy might know what he over there doing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, so those guys, you know, and let me say this, man. Some of those kids were gonna be good without me. Some of those kids, God had already blessed them with talent. Some of those kids was gonna get scholarships without me.
Yeah.
Um, but what those guys did was they came in and they trusted me. They allowed me to coach them. They allowed me to be hard on them. They allowed me to change things that I felt was gonna change. They needed to change for them to improve. And man, every single year, I can go down the list. Demi Cook. Coming out of high school, Demi Cook probably wasn't a good shooter. Demi got with me, started really working on his game, and Demi became a guy that you had to respect shooting the basketball. Josh Shear, man, Josh Shear, we just fine tuned some things with Josh Shear. Josh Shear was already a dog. He was already a really good player.
Hmm.
I think I kind of helped him with his form. helped him understand the game, some ball screen and pick and roll type things. Jerryon and Jerron, man, we locked ourselves in the gym one summer and we just shot the ball every single day. And their coaches was telling them, they said, hey man, if y'all want to play Division I basketball, then y'all got to start shooting close to 40% from 3-point. And man, we got in the gym and we worked and we worked. Both of those guys' 3-point percentages went up. If I'm not mistaken, they're twins, so I might get them mixed up. I want to say Jerryon. Jerryon was an all JUCO player 2 years in a row, I want to say. Both of those guys are now playing at Southern University in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
This is their I want to say this is their senior years. So shout out to those guys because those guys put me on the map. There's a guy named Devon Hayes who played at St. Stanislaus. He also played at the University of Southern Miss, and he played at Southeastern. He ended up getting a contract with the NBA G League. He played with the Knicks Farm League Club.
Okay.
So having a guy like that on my resume helped me. A kid by the name of Marquedrick Bell. Marquedrick Bell played at Arkansas Pine Bluff. He's now back and forth going overseas. I want to say he's playing in like the United Kingdom. He did a stint in Venezuela. It's guys like that, man. I've had the opportunity to train Tolu Smith. I've worked with Tolu Smith, who's now playing for Mississippi State. He was preseason SEC Player of the Year. He has a really great chance to go to the NBA. Just been fortunate, man, to be around some really good players that have helped grow my resume and build what I have. And if it wasn't for those guys, sticking with me and giving me an opportunity, my business probably would have never taken off and got to the level that it is right now. And we still got room to grow.
Yeah, for sure, man. Amen to that, brother. I was gonna say too, you said you had some talented guys who, were gonna go on and get scholarships and all that. But
Yeah.
But what they might not have gotten was that word you be putting into them, though.
For sure. You might have not gotten all of that, man.
You might not gotten that word, so you made them better players and better men at the same time.
For sure, man. For sure.
Do you ever have aspirations of traveling and doing like pop-up trainings and stuff like that? Because if people are requesting you, there's a market for it.
Yeah, man. And when I started this, man, I never took a business class before. I ain't know nothing about no business.
You just
All I knew is I just knew how to play basketball, man. I knew how to play basketball. I knew how to teach the game. I just know how to tap into kids, man. That's just one of my gifts, man. I can get kids to go harder than what they think they can. I can get kids to run through a wall. That's just a gift that I have, man. The ability to motivate and encourage these kids. But on the business side of it, I've been learning how to use social media to reach out. I've been learning how to network. For the most part, man, I'm really people don't really know this. I'm really a loner, man. I like to be by myself, man. I don't, but yeah, I really like to be by myself. It might not seem like that. I'm easy to get along with. I don't meet a stranger. It's easy for me to talk to people, but for the most part, I really try to be by myself. So the whole networking and, exchanging numbers and all of this stuff, I really wasn't with that when I first started.
Yeah.
But I realized that that's what it takes to grow a business.
Yeah,
sure. The more resources that you have, the more people that you can contact and help you, that's what's going to grow your business. And so, traveling, I've actually this year I was doing some traveling. I traveled over to Hammond, Louisiana, like 2 times out the week. And I was going to Louisiana and I was training kids over there. So I'm looking forward to trying to branch out into other states, and get my name out there and grow my business even more. I got some really good players this year that are playing right now. That's gonna help me be able to do that. Got a kid by the name of Dorian McMillan who plays at Pascagoula, who's arguably the number 1 player in the state. He's probably 1 or 2. I got another kid named Keelan Rich who plays at Pascagoula. He's a junior. Those are 2 really good players over there that are probably going to be going to be Division I basketball players. And those guys are playing on the Nike circuit. They playing on the Adidas circuit. So,
Okay.
when those guys go to gyms and, they're being seen, people are asking them who they train with, who's working with them.
Yeah.
So the more kids that are out there getting exposure, that helps me get my name out there. That helps me grow. So, like I tell all of these kids, man, my name's attached to you. It's bigger than just you. You represent more than yourself when you go out there and play. You represent your last name, you represent your family, you represent your school and your coaches, and you represent your trainer. I
Yep.
spend a lot of time pouring into these kids, so I want them to know that it's bigger than them. Um, and every time they step out on the floor, they represent more than themselves. So I'm counting on them to carry me on their back as well, man.
For sure. I got an idea for you. Check this out.
Yeah,
So you said people contact you from all over the nation saying if you were closer, they would come to you, right?
correct.
So here's what you can do. Create a video flyer.
Yeah.
When they reach out to you, say, hey, listen, I'm going to create an Eventbrite page. I'm going to create a video flyer. If you can share this to as many players as you know out there, and if I can get at least X amount of players to sign up and pay, I'll come out there and do a pop-up training for the weekend. You do Saturday, Sunday. That way,
Yeah,
money's already paid. People have already signed up. Whoever reached
for
out
sure.
to you is gonna vouch for you. So they're gonna share it to their sons, you know what I'm saying? Their sons, teammates, team, whatever.
Yeah,
That's how you do it. So now all expenses paid because now you got the money. They've paid already. So you
for
ain't
sure.
the airfare and travel. You're getting that. You include that in
Yeah,
the price,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
you determine how much you need to travel. Boom, there it is. That's what you
for
do.
sure.
So when people
Yeah,
reach out to you from another state, that's a golden opportunity to say, hey, listen, if you can't get to me, I got an Eventbrite page. I got this flyer, video flyer. So people can see the drills. They see a
yeah,
reel, right?
yeah,
They'll see what it
yeah.
is.
I need that. I need that type of information, that type of knowledge. Like I said, man, in the business realm of it, it's so much more room for me to grow. And you know what? It's hard when you by yourself, man.
I know.
It's,
I
it's
know.
it's hard when you're doing it by yourself. You ain't
I
got
know.
nobody to run ideas off of. You ain't really got nobody to force to push you and motivate you to put things into motion. And so sometimes you get stagnant. You get stagnant doing the same thing every single day. Um, but like I said, man, I love what I'm doing. I thank God for blessing me to be able to have the ability and the knowledge and the strength to do this. I've been
Yeah.
working with some great kids, man. I've had great families, that's been loyal to me. Um, a guy by the name of Jackson Corey, he plays at the W right now in Mississippi. This kid started with me in 7th grade and trained with me till he graduated high school. He'll continue to train with me now that he's in college. A kid by the name of Carter Bond, who's no longer playing basketball. He's just going to school to be a student. He trained with me for about 4 or 5 years. Very just loyal people, man.
Yeah.
That's been rocking with me. And I got a lot of people that believe in me and trust me to do what I do. So I'm thankful and grateful that God has blessed me with these people, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, brother. I want to add one more thing to that idea too. So you're saying you're doing it by yourself, right? It's a lot. So if you do that okay, look, in your pre-planning, figure out how much it's going to cost you to get there, right? You add that into the cost. Grab some guys, grab your brother, grab some other trainers that you know, include that. Include that in the price on how much you need to pay them, right? Airfare, so on and so forth. Maybe just one or two other people, so it don't get too costly for the players and their parents and stuff like that. But just add all that up, brother. Put that in
Yeah,
there. You're not going out there alone. You have some help, maybe two other trainers. Y'all go out there and run that thing for the weekend.
for sure,
I'm telling you,
for sure,
holla
for
at me,
sure.
man. Holla at
I
me.
will, bro. I will. I
You
I,
know.
I need that, man.
I bounced them ideas, but I'm telling you, you already have the clientele. They're begging for it, and you're not going
Yes.
out there. That's a way. All expenses
Yeah.
paid. You're gonna give
Yeah.
them.
For
You're
sure.
gonna feed the people, and they're
For
doing
sure.
that. Man, you're gonna grow your business so quickly, brother. And they're gonna be wanting you to come back. Hey, when can you come back? Because
Yeah.
when you go out there and you give them that value, You don't
Yeah.
think they're gonna be asking you to come back? They're gonna be
Hey,
like, when
that's
can we sign up for the next one?
yeah, that's funny you say that, man. I had the group that I was going to Hammond, Louisiana in training. That's pretty much how it started. One of those kids drove over to Mississippi. They
Mm-hmm.
trained with me for like 2 or 3 weeks. They went back. The parents saw them getting better. They got a
Yeah.
they got a group of about 13 kids together. They called me. Same thing you're saying.
Yeah.
Same exact. That's the way it happened for me in Louisiana. And it took off for me. And currently, I mean, I started with 2 kids from Louisiana. And now I'm currently up to about 20 kids driving from Louisiana coming to me to train. You know,
That
uh, shout out to the kids that play at Hannah High School for Coach Golf. Shout out to the kids that play at Country Day that drive over to train with me. I linked up. I've been training. I don't know if you know Corey Brewer. Corey Brewer was an NBA player. He played for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
that's
I want to
right.
say Corey Brewer. He won a championship at Florida with Joakim Noah and Al
Oh,
Horford and all of those guys.
yeah.
So I've been fortunate enough to his son's been driving over with the group of kids that I train. So
Okay.
so people are starting to take notice. Once I start getting some of those NBA guys to start taking some notice of me, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And we
Yeah.
really gonna blow up, man. But I'm grateful, man. People are coming from near and far to work with me, so it speaks volume.
Yeah, for sure, man. Listen, I got one more question. No, two more questions for you before we get out of here. So
Talk to me.
you said something early on about, your mother and your father instilling like hard work, dedication, just belief in you. So when you went to a team and played, nobody had to tell you to play harder. Nobody had to tell you to hustle. You know what I mean? All that. So what do you
Ah,
do? So what do you do when you get players that come to you that don't have that? Like, how do you work through that with them? How do you instill that in them? How do you get them to believe in themselves? And how do you get them to push themselves more than what they ever thought that they could?
well, the first thing what I try to teach these kids is before we even try to build skill and all of that stuff, the first thing we try to do is teach you a work ethic.
Okay.
Teach you how to work. Teach you how to work with a purpose. So that you can apply the things that you're working for in the game. Um, for the most part, a lot of parents of the kids that I train, the first thing when we get on the phone, the first thing they say is this: "Oh, my baby love basketball. He go outside every day with that ball." And the first thing I tell them is this: "Your baby don't love basketball. They don't love basketball. They like the idea of playing, and they like the idea of being on a team. But what they don't like is they don't like the work that comes with being a basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
They like to go outside and shoot. They like to go outside and play, but they don't like to really put that work in. So the
Yeah.
first thing I try to get these kids to understand is that you got to work hard. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to work hard. The second thing you got to do is you got to work smart. Right? You can go outside and work hard, but not work smart. You're not gonna get better.
Right.
You can go outside and work smart and not work hard. You're not gonna get better. You got to go out there and you got to do both of them. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Yeah.
work hard and you got to work smart. And once you start learning how to do that, from there, then we can start building on everything else. I can start working on your ball handling. I can start working on your shooting and your passing. I can start teaching you how to move without the basketball. Um, one thing I do in training is this. I try to tell every single player, even the kids that I coach, I'm not coaching effort. I'm not coaching your effort. Just because you're a basketball player or just because your parents pay for you to come to training, then you should go hard simply because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't no coach have to tell you to go hard, to work hard? Nobody should have to do that.
Right.
Just because I say I'm a basketball player, I should come in here wanting to work hard to get better.
Yep.
Now I tell you what, this is some things that I see why kids don't work hard. Because at home, you ain't teaching them to work hard. You don't make them go outside and cut the grass. You don't make them take the trash out. You don't make them clean their room. You don't
Yeah.
make them make their bed. You don't make
Hey,
them vacuum the floor and wash the car. You don't make them do that.
yeah.
Man, when we was coming up, listen, man, we didn't even sleep in my mama bed. We had to make the bed. We didn't even sleep in it. When you clean the house, you better make my bed too. And I'm sitting there like, man, we don't sleep in this bed. Why we gotta make it? But they instilled that work ethics in us, man. We had to go outside and rake leaves and cut grass and take out the trash. And we had, they come to the house and put big dirt piles in the yard, and we had to go out there and get those shovels and throw that dirt and then spread it. So they taught us how to work at the house, man. So that when we did get to playing with coaches and on teams, they didn't have to force us to do that or beg us to do it. And so that's one of the biggest things that I see right now, man. I know it's a different generation that we living in, but and I don't even say that these kids are soft anymore, man. They just delicate. They they delicate, man. But it starts at home.
Yep.
The parents not being tough on them, parents trying to be their friends,
Yep.
And what's going to happen is when they get in the real world, they're going to have to work for somebody. They're going to have to do things that they don't want to do. They're going to have to take orders from somebody. And if you don't know how to do that growing up at the house, you're going to have a long road to go, as you get older.
Bouncing from job
Yeah.
to job because that manager ain't treating them right. So they think,
No, sir.
right? They too hard on me. They don't understand. They didn't. No, nah.
Yep.
That work
So in training, that's what I try to do, man. I tell the kids all the time, your parents pay me to push you past what you think you can do or how much you think you can give. So when you sitting here telling me that you're tired, I'm right there in your ear telling you you're not tired. You can go harder. You can give more. You can push yourself. Cause sometimes we can't do it on our own. A lot of kids they don't have that self-discipline. They don't have that self-motivation. A lot of these kids lack pride, so I that's where I come in, man. I come in to motivate them and encourage them and give them that extra boost to get them over the hump, man.
Yeah, keep being a blessing, brother. Keep pouring into these kids, being a blessing, changing their lives, because you're changing their lives more than they think more than they know.
For sure.
And so, one last thing I gotta ask you: self-analysis. What is one thing that you feel that you could be doing more of or better to get you to where you're going?
What I could be doing better,
or more of? You could be doing it.
I mean,
doing more of it.
just in my business, I could be more organized. I could be a little more structured and pay a little more closer to details. I gotta quit. I gotta quit procrastinating and putting things off. There's ideas and things that I want to do that I'm kind of dragging my feet on. There's summer camps that I want to have. Like we talked about, I want to be able to travel and go to different states, go to different countries. I kind of want to jump off into the AAU world, and start my own AAU basketball team. So those are things that I want to do. I want to link up with some colleges. I want to link up with some NBA trainers. Go pick their brains. And just become a better trainer. I also want to get with some business people, man, and learn the ins and outs of business. There's some things that I still have to learn on this business side that I don't know. So, man, I got so much room for growth. And it's a process. It's a process, man. It ain't a marathon. I'm sorry, it ain't a sprint. It's a marathon. And like my brother always told me, man, he was like, probably a year or two ago, he was telling me, he was like, man, you still in the infant stages of this thing. You only been doing it 5-6 years. You just now really getting and understanding, the steps in the process that you need to take to get to where you're going. So, man, I'm gonna just keep my hand in God's hand, man. Stay prayed up. I keep asking God to enlarge my territory and order my footsteps, man. And he's continued to do that. So it's only a matter of time, man, for this thing take off. To God be the glory, though.
For sure. So let me ask you this: do you feel like you just need to know, like, kind of like an overall view of how to structure a business? Do you feel like you need that? You feel like
Yeah, I can use that.
okay,
I can definitely use that.
we'll talk
Um,
off camera. I got something for you.
yeah, yeah.
All right, I
Let,
got something
let's do that.
for sure, for sure. Well,
Let's do
brother,
that.
I appreciate you, man. Keep being a blessing. Keep being a vessel. Keep being a tool. Um, like I said, I got something for you. And man, brother, I'm proud of you. Proud of you,
Thank
man.
you,
I
bro.
see you working, brother. Finally
Thank you,
got you.
cuz.
Finally got you on here, brother. You was running from me. Nah, I'm just messing with
Ah, come on, man.
I'm just messing with you. No, I'm glad we finally got a chance to link up though, man, so I can show the world, you know what I mean, what my cousin
That's
is
what's
out
up.
here doing, you know what I mean?
I'm
For real.
thankful for that, man. I'm glad I finally took the opportunity to come on here, man. I'm
Yeah,
grateful for you having me.
yeah, for sure, man. You're doing some great things, so you gotta let the world know about it and help somebody. All that game you were just dropping, I'm telling you, some kid needs to hear it, some parent needs to hear it, somebody needs to hear it. You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
So that's what
For
this is
sure.
about. So yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you, my brother. Hey, everybody, you know where I'm at every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, kicking it with somebody cool like Grady Willis. Make sure you tap in if you're looking for some basketball training, just some mentoring, or just a good word. Holla at Grady. Next Level Skillz. That's next_level_skills with a Z. Hit him up. He's down on the coast, but soon he'll be coming to you. So if you need him, hit him up in the DMs. All right, we out of
Let's
here.
do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
gonna speak that. We out of here, y'all.
Let's
Until
go.
next Tuesday, we kicking it.
It's levels
Peace.
to this.
Yes.
Appreciate you, cuz.